Morning, friends. The snow's starting again just in time to start singing. I know, it's a call to sing. I invite you to rise in body and our spirit, and let's sing together. We shall be known.
We shall be known by the company, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change, alive, redeemed.
Good morning on this sunny. That's what it says here. No, I'm just kidding. On this snowy February morning. Thanks for braving the elements to be here. Welcome to the Olympia Unitarian Universalist congregation. Our community envisions an interconnected world that is loving, just, and healthy. We commit to live out our mission, to welcome and wonder, embrace and empower, bridge and become. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Des McGarran. I use he, him pronouns, and I am a member of the worship arts team. Leading worship with me today is our minister, Reverend Mary Gear, Troy Fisher, our music director, and Reverend Sarah Lewis, who I believe is participating via Zoom. You are welcome here just as you are, whatever beliefs sustain you, whomever you love, however you understand and express your identity, and in all the ways you are still becoming the person you will be. Here's a few things you should know about our service today. We are streaming live on Zoom and YouTube, and the service is being recorded. For those following the monitor text, you can see the sometimes creative subtitles on the screen in front here. And of course, if you're on Zoom also. Over here, we have soft chairs and activities for your hands if you're interested. We are a multi-generational community, and we welcome the company of our young ones, kids, babies, teens, right here in the sanctuary. There is also nursery care and a storytime program for children in the classroom wing. Please choose the option where you are most comfortable. We are grateful for the many hands that have helped make worship happen this morning. Thank you to all who contribute in so many ways. After the service, everyone will have the chance to discuss reflection questions offered by Reverend Mary. For those online, we invite you to go into a breakout room for a virtual coffee chat. For those in person, please feel free to stay for coffee and fellowship in the Commons. At 12:15, right after this service, please join us here in the sanctuary or on Zoom for a forum on compassionate communication, presented by Elizabeth Drake of the Thurston County Dispute Resolution Center. This forum has been organized and sponsored by our OUUC Leadership Development Committee. The UU Pagan Hymn Book gathering today has been cancelled due to weather. Winter still remains, but as the wheel of the year turns, there is promise that spring will return. Not tonight. Join Reverend Mary for a spiritual practice mini-retreat on the February theme of inclusion next Saturday, February 8th, from 10 until noon, on site here at OUUC. Please register online at the link in the Tuesday newsletter, or by contacting Reverend Sarah. There are many things happening at OUUC. Check out the Tuesday electronic update or the website for the most up-to-date information. Now, let us open our hearts and minds as we prepare for worship. It is good to be together. This morning, we join Unitarian Universalist congregations around the world in a lighting of chalice, the symbol of our faith tradition, with the words of Karishma Gottfried. If you're online and have a chalice or candle, please join me as we light our chalices together. Each of us was created in the image of love. Wherever we come from, wherever we're going, whoever we are, whomever we love, we proclaim with love on our side. Our bodies are sacred. Our minds are blessed. Our spirits are beloved. May we be open to receive more love, always more love.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Mary, and I use she, her pronouns. Our opening words for today are offered by Gwen Matthews. Whoever you are, wherever you are from, whomever you love, whatever you have done, you are welcome here. You are welcome to this time, this space, this moment that we carve out of often busy and chaotic weeks. You are welcome to this time for collective breaths, for words, for music, for lighting candles, and for us to simply exist here together. You are invited into worship this morning with these words from Ta-Nehisi Coates. I believe that our bodies are ourselves, that my soul is the voltage conducted through the neurons and nerves, and that my spirit is my flesh. Yes to all of that. The essence that is you, that spark of life, is in your body, is of your body, and you are divine. You contain the holy within you right now. I invite you to take a breath as we enter into this time of worship in body, mind, and spirit.
I invite you to rise in body and or spirit again today. And let's sing out of the Teal hymn book, hymn number 1014, Answering the Call of Love.
Good morning. The story that I have to share with you today is a true story. It happened in a Unitarian Universalist congregation, as told by that congregation's minister, Reverend Joanna Fontaine Crawford. So there was a young family in this congregation, a single mother with two children, a girl and a boy. And the young son in this family, seeing the fun that his mom and sister had painting their nails, also wanted to paint his nails. He delighted in all the color options and the creativity. He had great delight running around and showing his nails. That is, until at school, he began to be bullied by other children who said that fingernail polish was not for boys. His mother shared this, what was going on, with other members of the congregation, and somehow word got around. And so one Sunday, all sorts of men showed up at church with fingernail polish on. All sorts, teenagers, serious business types, old men who had never worn nail polish before. Some brought extra nail polish so that if anyone hadn't heard about this ahead of time, they could paint their nails right there at church. When the little boy came in and saw all of these men with nail polish and so many colors, his face lit up. He was so joyful. Now, Reverend Fontaine Crawford also felt great joy, and she shares that she can't remember what sermon she gave that day. And in fact, it doesn't matter because the best sermon was happening right there in the congregation. It was a lesson about care, about nurturing masculinity, an alternative and antidote to toxic masculinity. It was a lesson about being an intentional, multi-generational community where the care of the young was everyone's responsibility. It was a lesson about joy. Now, we often craft very carefully intentional curricula, lessons, sermons about how to live our values. But sometimes the opportunity is just there in front of us. Sometimes there's the call. And then we can be the feet and the hands of justice. And sometimes it's fingernails too. Thus ends our story.
Each Sunday, we engage in the spiritual practices of generosity and gratitude by joining together in service to our community and to something greater than ourselves. We each have the power to share, and when we combine our gifts to create an offering, together we are able to do more than any of us can do alone. We also express our gratitude for the gifts that life has given us, for the network of relationships in which we live, and for the presence of this community. If you are new or visiting us for the first or second time, you are our welcome guest with no expectation to contribute. However, if you are moved to be part of our offering, what you share will be most gratefully received. Our weekly offering, collected here, is helpful in two ways. It supplements our regular pledges, which supports the ongoing work of our congregation. It also supports an organization that serves our community in harmony with our Unitarian Universalist values. In November and December, the generosity of this congregation sent $3,438 to the Collaborative Association for Reintegration and Education, which helps support those who have been affected by the criminal legal system. We also added $491 to the Minister's Benevolence Fund, so Reverend Mary and the staff can assist those connected to OUUC who are in need. Thank you for your generosity. Our Share the Plate organization for January and February is New Horizon Communities. Here are some words about their work.
Hi, my name is Colleen Carmichael, and I'm the Executive Director of New Horizon Communities, formerly known as Quixote Communities. New Horizon provides chronically homeless people with a safe place to lay their heads, on-site behavioral health and mental health support services through our college intern program, and one-on-one case management to help our residents meet their goals. Your support will help us grow our successful model by giving more people a chance to thrive. By reducing the number of people exposed to harsh weather, we are not only showing empathy and kindness, but we are saving money. Our model costs 50% less than leaving them on the streets or sweeping them, and it's historically proven to give long-term results. Thanks to faith-based organizations like yours, we currently serve 100 people annually. How can you help be part of this movement? Well, you can host a gathering at your home where we can share our success stories. You can volunteer at our site by providing a movie night or a meal. You can organize friends to come work in our garden and tend to the herbs and veggies that help nourish our residents. You can advocate for change by speaking in support of housing at your city and county councils, or you can support related bills at the state and federal level. We already have seen what your church can do. Your efforts turned the homeless encampment known as Camp Quixote into what is now New Horizon Communities. Thank you for being a light in our world and helping us spread joy and love to all our neighbors this holiday season.
May the offering now be generously given as it is gratefully received.
Thank you for your generosity and all the many ways you share your gifts. This morning, we do what humans have done for all of our existence. We gather in times of worry and anxiety, and in times of celebration and joy, and in all kinds of weather. We come into our community bringing all that is in our minds and in our hearts. Let's open our hearts to the complexity of life as we place stones in the water of community. You will hear a drumbeat. Allow its resonance to enter into your body. It's the heartbeat of life, the heartbeat of community. So right now, I invite you to take a deep breath in and out. Feel the air as it enters and leaves your body. Feel the earth beneath us. Feel the warmth of connection. Bobby Murray shares that she took a fall last Saturday, breaking a wrist and the upper part of both arms. Ouch, yeah. She is grateful to not need surgery and is excited about getting a new cast tomorrow. She is well supported by her husband, Mike, as well as friends and neighbors, and well cared for. Bobby, we send you our love and care as you heal in body and in spirit. So let's open our circle wide. For those on Zoom, I invite you to share from your heart by entering in the chat. Those of us in the sanctuary will see your sharing on the screen, and it's shared with me and the pastoral care team. For those on site today, I invite you to come forward if there's something you'd like to bring into this community. You may place a stone in the water as you hold your sharing in your heart. Let's hear the heartbeat of community and reach out our hearts in love and care to all those who share today. We'll place a stone in the water for all that has been shared online, shared from the heart. And one more stone in the water for all that we hold in our hearts and that remains unspoken. We hold together all that has been shared. May you feel yourself witnessed. May you know yourself beloved. Please be in whatever way is comfortable for you for silence and meditation. I invite you to settle in wherever you are. This meditation is offered by Kimberly Ann Tomczyk Carlson. Feel the gravity of the earth holding you in place. Wiggle your toes as if they were roots. Roots connect you to the earth, lending you strength. Gently sway in the wind, turning your body like the trunk of a tree, leaning this way and that, bending as the air pushes and pulls. What surrounds us may sway us, make us bend and feel unbalanced. Wiggle your toes. Know that your roots can hold you as you grow and learn and bend. A tree is nourished by the soil and water. We are nourished by the food the earth grows and the water she provides. You are loved and cared for by many people. Breathe deeply. Still yourself. Know that your roots are strong. Wiggle your roots. Let's be in silence together.
Today's first reading is adapted from How We Think About Our Bodies and Spiritual Lives, Gnosticism, a blog post by Dr. Caitlin Brackney on her site, Holy Good. How we think about our bodies and spiritual lives does not come without outside influence. There is a vast array of approaches to embodiment and how it may or may not influence the lives of humanity. Over hundreds of years, it has been discussed and debated in philosophy, theology, congregational settings, approaches to education, and more. In my own experience, the idea of embodiment has been controversial and taught with conflicting approaches. In one breath, it would be taught that our bodies are a temple of God's dwelling and so should be treated with care. In another, that our bodies are a distraction from faithful living. In another, that we were created in God's image. And in another, that all things physical, including our bodies, will one day pass away, and all that matters is our hearts and souls, which will live with God forever. There are myriad voices contributing to conversations around embodiment, and these voices come from across the centuries.
Part 1, Theology. Unitarian Universalism is a creedless tradition, which means Unitarian Universalists are not told what to believe. We are offered a space to determine what we do believe, what our values are, and how we want to live in the world. UUs don't tend to agree on theological ideas like the existence of something beyond ourselves, or if humans have a soul. One thing we can all agree on is that each of us has a body, and that's where it gets interesting. As Dr. Brackney said, ideas about embodiment or how we experience the world through our bodies has been a topic of debate and conversation for probably about as long as we have been human. The ancient Greek philosopher Plato argued that what humans experience with our senses, our bodies, is just a representation, a mere representation of reality, and that we can only know the perfection of reality through our soul. Plato believed that the soul is barred from this knowledge of reality by its connection to the body. The mind is burdened by the body. In the history of religion, some of the early Christians who called themselves Gnostics drew on the writings of Plato to develop the belief that the body and the spirit were different things, and that what exists in this material world, like our bodies, is a source of evil. Gnostics believed that to be saved from the consequences of sin, we needed to separate the spirit from the body and escape this world. And although Gnosticism as a religious tradition didn't survive, the writings and the beliefs did, and influenced later philosophers and theologians. René Descartes, the father of modern philosophy, contributed to Enlightenment thinking with his insistence that the mind and the body are separate, with distinct natures. And he asserted that the mind can exercise reason all on its own, independent of the body. Now, the Enlightenment helped bring humankind into the modern world, a world where we have science and math and reason and logic. And it perpetuated the idea of the mind and body as separate, with the mind, and therefore reason, as the ultimate way to know the world. The Enlightenment view distrusted and minimized embodiment, if not outright rejected it. The ideas of the Enlightenment influenced the writers of the U.S. Declaration of Independence and the Constitution and are foundational in our U.S. democracy. Those ideas also influenced many religious traditions, including Unitarians and Universalists. It was the emphasis on reason and the ability of all humans for rational thought, as well as the inherent human potential, that led the Universalists to embrace the belief that everyone is worthy of God's love. Universalists incorporated the idea of individual judgment and social reform into their beliefs and actions, and that these beliefs led some Universalists to promote the ideology and practice of eugenics, a race-based control of human population and reproduction, is also a part of our history, and perhaps a topic for another day. For the Unitarians, the Enlightenment focus on the use of reason as a way to know the world and the idea of critical thinking were key. Unitarians promoted a rational interpretation of the Bible. This influenced Jefferson, who wrote the Jefferson Bible, by taking all the miracles out, and became a voice for liberal religion and social action. That some Unitarians were slow to act against the enslavement of Black bodies is also a part of our history. Unitarian Universalists have a long history of elevating the mind, the use of reason, and the power of an individual conscience, all ideas that have been part of our Unitarian Universalist principles for decades. Speaking about embodiment, the soul and spirit, the sacred and the holy, have come more recently, and even then with some hesitation and pushback. As a denomination, we've had an ongoing conversation that continues today about how the sacred shows up in our faith tradition and in our congregations. It was a long and contentious process that led to the adoption of new Unitarian Universalist values at our annual meeting, General Assembly, last June. And those new values contain words like theology, hope, and reverence, adding sacred language to the statement of who we are. So here we are, with a long history of separating the mind and body, of elevating the mind and dismissing or denigrating the body. All these ideas reinforce the tension between mind and body and are present in our culture today.
Our second reading is an excerpt from Anti-Diet, Reclaim Your Time, Money, Well-Being, and Happiness Through Intuitive Eating by Christy Harrison, a journalist and dietitian focused on intuitive eating. Diet culture is a system of beliefs that equates thinness, muscularity, and particular body shapes with health and moral virtue, promotes weight loss and body reshaping as a means of attaining higher status, demonizes certain foods and food groups while elevating others, and oppresses people who don't match its supposed picture of health. By and large, Western culture is diet culture. This way of thinking about food and bodies is so established in the fabric of our society in so many different forms that it can be hard to recognize. It masquerades as health, wellness, and fitness. It cloaks itself in connection. Diet culture is consuming us.
Part 2, Bodies in Diet Culture. In the mid-1830s, a Presbyterian minister named Sylvester Graham began preaching the idea that some kinds of food could be bad for health, and that a proper diet was the key to both good health and moral virtue. Graham, who created what we know today as the graham cracker, believed that such foods as spices, meat, sugar, alcohol, yeast, caffeine, and condiments all contributed to the excesses of the body in the form of the cardinal sins, such as lust, sloth, and gluttony. Graham's theology made self-control a primary virtue, along with the denial of pleasure and the triumph of reason over emotion. Graham's teachings came after centuries of colonization by white Europeans of the lands of indigenous and African people. So, for example, in a time of Christopher Columbus, worries about staying healthy in foreign climates and territories was a big concern. And so the belief was that eating the foods of Europe, the right foods, and avoiding the foods of the natives was a way to stay healthy, and another way to distance the colonizers from the natives. These stories are just a few examples of the history of food and bodies that Christy Harrison tells in her book, Anti-Diet, from which our reading is taken. Another story is about the creation of the body mass index, the BMI, and how it was based on measurements of young male graduate students in the 1830s as a study in statistics as applied to large populations. BMI was never intended to be a clinical medical tool, and clinicians across the decades have recommended that it be discarded as arbitrary and harmful. Our long philosophical and theological history of elevating the mind and devaluing the body shows up in many ways, including as a culture that defines an ideal body size and shape that is unreasonable and often unattainable. Diet culture. A society that focuses on intentional weight loss using scarcity and restriction robs people of time, money, happiness, and well-being, and hurts every body. We are bombarded with misinformation and misinterpreted studies about health, diet, and bodies and movement, often giving us conflicting information about how to feed and move our bodies, adding confusion to what many experience as shame and blame. New medications have made this push even stronger and harder. With a pill available now, who would choose to be fat? A few weeks ago, I spoke about class and poverty and how religious ideas about the poor are so much a part of our culture that we don't recognize it anymore. It's the same with ideas about food, health, and bodies. Even though we don't use the words that Graham did almost 2 centuries ago, the idea that being fat or not eating healthily is a moral failing still exists. It's suggested in the ads that promise easy weight loss, making weight an individual failing that can be remedied with a consumer project and a product. And if that product doesn't work, Well, there must be something wrong with you. Our culture gives privilege and power to those with thinner, more muscular bodies, bodies that have been often controlled into an ideal. It's another way that we are divided, categorized, labeled, and shamed. Diet culture makes us believe that our bodies are not to be trusted and have to be controlled internally, maybe externally. The reality is that diet culture is all about external control of bodies. Women's bodies, bodies of color, indigenous bodies, immigrant bodies, trans bodies. Bodies that don't meet an unreasonable ideal are judged as immoral, criminal, unworthy, unlovable. We are seeing that ideology play out on the national scene right now as some bodies are being demonized and punished. To suggest that there is normal diversity in body size and shape across humans, that there are many complex reasons for body size and shape and weight, and that all bodies are worthy and lovable, well, that's just countercultural.
Our final reading is an excerpt from The Body is Not an Apology, The Power of Radical Self-Love by Sonia Renee Taylor. When we speak of the ills of the world, violence, poverty, injustice, we are not speaking conceptually. We are talking about things that happen to bodies. When we say millions around the world are impacted by the global epidemic of famine, what we are saying is that millions of humans are experiencing the physical deterioration of muscle and other tissue due to lack of nutrients in their bodies. Injustice is an opaque word until we are willing to discuss its material reality. Racism, sexism, ableism, homo and transphobia, ageism, fat phobia, are algorithms created by human struggle to make peace with the body. A radical self-love world is a world free from the systems of oppression that make it difficult and sometimes deadly to live in our bodies. A radical self-love world is a world that works for every body. Creating such a world is an inside-out job. How we value and honor our own bodies impacts how we value and honor the bodies of others.
Part 3, every body. Each Sunday morning, we say these words at the start of our service. Excuse me. You are welcome here just as you are. Whatever beliefs sustain you, whomever you love, however you understand and express your identity, and in all the ways you are still becoming the person you will be. Part of the OUUC mission is to welcome. We welcome and wonder, embrace and empower, bridge and become, recognizing that we are all part of the interdependent web of life. Often when I meet with people who are new to OUUC or new to Unitarian Universalism, they have questions about who we are and what we do. Sometimes they have stories of religious experiences that are harmful, full of shame and blame, often for who they are. The underlying question is always the same. Will I belong here? Will I be seen and valued for who I am? All of me, no matter my size, my abilities, my economic status, my education, my gender and sexuality. Will I belong here? Belonging is a basic human need and desire. And one of the ways that we can frame our justice efforts is that we push back against anything that limits belonging. Any ideology that defines us and them, any actions that demonize and punish any bodies, anything that diminishes or dismisses the diversity and complexity of life. Justice work for all bodies has been around for decades. The fat liberation movement began in the late 1960s with the goals of promoting equal treatment for fat people, raising awareness of size discrimination, eliminating weight stigma, and pushing against problematic societal ideas around beauty, dieting, and health. This work continues today with organizations like Health at Every Size, or HAES, which advocates for weight inclusivity, respectful medical care for all bodies, eating for well-being, and life-enhancing movement to promote healthy habits instead of focusing on weight. And like all justice work, body liberation begins inside, with our own values and beliefs. As Sonia Renee Taylor said in our reading, how we value and honor our own bodies impacts how we value and honor the bodies of others. If we judge, shame, and harshly control our own bodies, we will judge, shame, and control others. Body liberation is freedom for all bodies, regardless of color, size, ability, or age, including our own bodies. We are a community of bodies, larger bodies and smaller bodies, newer bodies and aging bodies, bodies with varied abilities, bodies seeking belonging. So there are some practical things that we can do to fulfill our mission to welcome all bodies into our community. We can be attentive to our physical spaces to make sure they are accessible to all bodies. That looks like having comfortable chairs of variable sizes so that all bodies might be comfortable. It looks like making space for walkers and wheelchairs, as well as the people who use them. And here's what acceptance of all bodies might sound like. We could ask, how and where would you be most comfortable? And then listen. Acceptance and welcome sounds like taking the lead from the person who is in their body and doing what we can to offer comfort, welcome, and belonging. Another action we can take is to limit our comments about other people's bodies to responding only when we are asked. That means not making unsolicited comments about changes in body size or shape, even when we think it's a compliment. We never know what another person is going through, and if a change in body size or shape is related to a health condition that they might be struggling with in that moment. It means not commenting on dress or body adornment, even when we think it's a compliment, because we never know what another person is experiencing that day. Most often, giving a compliment is a way that we try to connect with another person. So let's connect in ways that are real and true. Perhaps you've lost weight, you look great, could be replaced with, how are you really doing these days? True connection is when our words and actions let another person know that they are truly seen and loved, even when it means doing things like painting our fingernails. This month, we explore the spiritual theme and practice of inclusion. I invite you to consider the ways that we can widen our circle to include every body. Inclusion is not about bringing everyone into the same small space, the small circle. It's about making our circle bigger so that everyone can be included. Everybody, including yours. In her poem, Wild Geese, Mary Oliver wrote, "You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves." In the days ahead, may you feel the freedom to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. May you nourish, move, and adorn your body in joyful ways that say yes to life. And may you know that you are loved just as you are, and you are welcome here. Let's be in silence for just a moment together.
Please rise or sit, whichever is most comfortable for you, and let's sing together. Hymn number 6 out of the Great Hymn Book, Just As Long As I Have Breath. We extinguish our chalice with the words of Eric Williams. "Blessed is the path upon which you travel.
Blessed is the body that carries you upon it. Blessed is your heart that has heard the call. Blessed is your mind that discerns the way. Blessed is the gift you will receive by the going. Truly blessed is the gift that you will become on the journey. May you go with joy, go with commitment, go with love, and travel safely.
Thank you, choir. You were wonderful. In the snow, you're so good.